by the name of Mrs. Simpson took Ada Cleet and I to Moody Bible Institute to study there. My plan was to study and then become an administrator in a church. While I was there, we were all assigned places to eat in the dining room, particularly for the night meal. Mrs. Simpson and Ada were assigned in the big dining hall, which was very pretty at that time. But because of that and the overflow, I was assigned a table out in the gym, which it made into a dining hall with all of the things there. I was very unhappy at that, and at first almost was not going to go, but of course I did go. I was assigned to sit next to a young man who was very blonde hair at that time, and I was sitting there, I hardly looked at him. At the morning meal though, milk was passed around in a pitcher, and he asked me if I would like to have a glass of milk, and I did at that time. Well, eventually we began to talk. Later on...
And that was Papa Chief, right?
Yeah, and this one was, as we know him now, he was Papa Chief.
All right.
In February, Moody Bible Institute had a big conference, and Gordon was in the choir for the conference, and he asked me if I would like to save him a seat, and he would come down and sit next to me. Well, that was the beginning of a very close relationship. Nearly a year forward, we both had applied to South American Indian Mission to go down to Brazil as missionaries. Gordon and I took many walks to Lincoln Park in Chicago, overlooking Lake Michigan. So then Gordon asked me, as we sat on this boulder overlooking Lake Michigan, the waves were rolling in, asked me if I would like to go on the mission field with him. You can imagine what my answer was. In April of that year, Gordon gave me my engagement ring for that time. When we finished school, we came back down to Houston and lived in Houston for that summer. And we taught daily vacation Bible schools in about 5 different churches in Houston. He took boys out for hiking, doing different things with them. He took some boys out to hike on out to camp on one of the lakes out of Houston. This was just to be a day hike and to be there. And then someone took them out in their cars, and then they were going to come back and pick them up. But it became later and later, and they weren't there that first night. But as the boys sat there, as he said, they were slapping mosquitoes, but they asked many questions about the Bible that they didn't know. Why was this and why was that? So he thought afterwards, if they're so interested, kids are so interested in know about the Bible, why don't I have some type of a little camp that they can come to and we can emphasize the Bible? While we were at the church, and ministering there, we were still, though, trying to raise support for to be missionaries in South America. And after 1 year, the secretary of the mission came to visit and to see how things were going, and even went with us to several places. We only raised $50 a month. And so he said to us, have you thought about the fact that the Lord does not want you to go to the mission field at this time? I was very unhappy, and I felt almost guilty that something was wrong with me, that I was not going to be able to go to the mission field. We continued, however, to be at the little church and having church there and having Sunday school there, and the Lord blessed. And Gordon had a large boys group that he did things with, taking them on hikes and so forth. The next year we did have a camp for high school kids on the shores of Double Lake up in East Texas there. From then on, we started camps during the summer. We went all summer long. My hope for camp's future is really just as it is now, not to grow just to be a big camp, but to be very intense about to teach God's Word, to love each camper, to let them know that they are special, and then to provide them some material that they get to study and to keep reading and knowing throughout the whole year. My desire for the staff, and this maybe apply to the particular incoming staff, to know that as they come here, they are really serving the Lord, because their particular mission is to make God known and to lead each camper to know the Lord and to want to know Him more and to live for Him. I also would like for the staff to know that they're very, very important, particularly the counselors that are in the cabin. As they spend more time with the camper begins to look to them as the one who knows the Lord and can lead them to the Lord. Each one of the staff is very important for the camper. Without the staff realizing, the camper is observing the staff, and what they see in the staff can lead them to know that that person really loves the Lord, and I want to be like that person.